Welcome to the Axe DevTools Extension video part 2. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a partial page scan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this contact modal, and I'm going to run that partial page scan. What I can do is click on the border of this contact modal, and then I could scan from there. So the Axe DevTools extension isn't going to scan the full site. Again, it's just going to scan this contact modal. Here we have 7 issues, relegated only to this form elements do not have proper labels. I could highlight them and I could go through them. You could see that email, phone, and fax all do not have a proper label associated with it programmatically, even though visually it looks like they do have the labels. Let's look at the code. We see that these labels appear here as spans in the code, and visually we get associated with them, but the radio buttons have no programmatic way in which they are associated with them, such as with an ARIA labeled by attribute, which, if we go back to Axe DevTools, is one of the recommended solutions. Also, if these controls don't have labels associated with them, they may also be unlikely to be in a field set legend, which could also be a failure. Let me now click on Save. Now that I saved the test, I could go to this guided test tab, and now I could run an intelligent guided test or IGT. IGTs take accessibility testing beyond what could be automated by asking you simple questions about your application to cover advanced accessibility checks and help you arrive at results that would otherwise require a manual assessment to be performed by an accessibility expert. So it gives the power to you now. Press start, and as we see, we have 11 interactive elements that were found and they were highlighted. One of the ones that were not highlighted was selecting this mission type, which is a custom dropdown. I'm going to click on Next. It's now going to capture screenshots from each of these elements. And because the select your mission type wasn't highlighted, I'm going to manually click on that. And I'm also going to click on the 3 radio buttons that we know did not have accessible names programmatically determined. I'm going to click on Next. And if you notice, the intelligent guided test brings out that this issue has already been raised automatically, which is consistent with what we saw with our partial page scan. Because it's been raised automatically and it has no accessible name, I'm going to leave that as a no. If the state was going to change, I could choose to test it as checked or not checked. If I click this as checked, I could test this, but I'm going to leave the rest as the default and notice that it's highlighting the elements as they continue to pop up. I'm going to click on Next because it's going to have a similar dialog to what we just previously saw. And then this was the element that did not pop up the first time. So it's asking me to validate the accessible name. The accessible name associated with this is select your mission type, which is appropriate. So I'm going to leave this as yes. And then for the role, it says select a role which accurately conveys the element's purpose. I'm going to open this and I'm going to click on a list box, because if you click it, it displays a list of elements to choose from. This would be different from a combo box in that a combo box would have an editable text field, which this does not have. And right now we don't have any states to test. So I'm going to click on Next, and the intelligent guided test is going to find 2 issues. Again, with that check state that we played around with, as well as the issue that was brought up in terms of mission type. I could inspect the code if I want to, and then I could debug it locally. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to click on Finish, and then I could save these results and export them into my Downloads folder, as I did in the previous video. And that's a demo for the Axe DevTools extension. Thanks for watching.